we're moving to our next talk, and next talk is called Pockets of Knowledge, POK, TRIZ. And the presenter is Oleg Feygenson. Oleg?
Yes, thank you, Valery. So after delivering the president welcome words, I have switched to another device, and on this device I do not have nice camera options. That is why I will not use my camera. Hope that is okay. You know how I look like, and also you can see the picture.
So,
all right, let me share the screen. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we have 4 co-authors of this paper, Pockets of Knowledge, POK, TRIZ. And to be honest, I was not planning to present. I expected that some of my co-authors would present, but be as it may, let me start with the quick introduction of my co-authors. This is a very international team. We have Jeremy Lesourd from the United Kingdom. We have Stéphane Savelli from Belgium. We have Emanuilov from Russia, and Oleg Feygenson, who is also originally from Russia, but now in South Korea for 8 years. And why I emphasize this fact that we have international team? Because we were able to share and exchange our finding, our experience in different countries. You see, Korea is very different from the United Kingdom. Belgium is very different from Russia. And all of us came to the same conclusions, and that is why we decided to publish this paper. Okay, this is the outline. I will start with the background. I will explain a little bit what is going on in the current education market, how people learn some new things, how they learn TRIZ in particular. We'll also discuss some trends and statistics about e-learning, which is very popular now. And Valery, of course, you know that because you have been doing that a lot since pandemic and even before pandemic. Okay. Then I will jump to the pockets of knowledge. I will explain why we want to use this format. I will explain about customization of TRIZ tools and why we need such customization. Of course, it will not be nice to say something about pockets of knowledge and do not give any example. So in our paper, you can find a couple of case studies. One is a very technical case study about design simplification. And the second case study is about function analysis. And it will be a very interesting case because I will be talking about function analysis of information system online marketplace, which is in a way a database and tools of working with database. So how to apply a function analysis to informative system. You can imagine if you learn TRIZ from level 1 to level 3, you can tell me immediately, Oleg, function analysis is not applicable for information system because information is not a legitimate component of the function model. So I will show you how we assume we may apply this concept of POK to use function analysis for information system. And there will be some conclusions, of course. All right. I love this slide. I keep using this slide since 2016 when I found it. It was published by McKinsey, and the article was about improving the semiconductor industry through advanced analytics. And the paradigm change shown on this slide is from information we have to information we need. Look, traditional empirical analysis looks like it's on the left-hand side. So we are moving from data to decisions. Imagine we want to make some decision, how we make it traditionally. We learn a lot of data. Just an example, if I have my courses in a university, I spent 5 years, even more, because I also got my PhD. So I spent 8 years in universities. So I learned a lot of data. Then from data, I converted something to the information. Information is a structured data which can be used for purpose. All right, out of 1,000 gigabytes of data, I have some information. Then, based on this information, I can generate some insights. And then I can make some smart decisions. And new advanced analytics drives us from decision to data. The first question is asked, what are the critical decisions? And then the next question is, what insights do we need to make these decisions? And then we go from these insights to information. What information do we need to get these insights? And only after that, we go to data. What data must be collected to get the information we want? Now, if you think about TRIZ, how we learn TRIZ, let's say this is a matrice conference and people are familiar with matrice education system. We have level 1, 2, and 3 to learn every tools of TRIZ in accordance with matrice requirements. Of course, there are more tools. You can open, the section of TRIZ with TRIZ master dissertations, and you'll find more tools. But even if we are talking about these 3 levels, it takes months or even years to learn, to master, and to apply this knowledge to the real specific projects. However, very often we don't need all this data, all this information we learned during level 1 and from level 1 to level 3. Sometimes to make critical decisions, we just need some insights from TRIZ, right? We do not need to use every single tool which is included into the roadmap. Of course, there is a special category of people, TRIZ experts, who needs to know everything, and they know a lot of nuances, how to apply this or that tool or combinations of tools. Perfect. We should have these people. These people make TRIZ a very niche, very unique product. But if we want to extend applications of TRIZ, probably we can speak about democratization of TRIZ. I'm not talking about simplification, because I know that some TRIZ masters will kill me immediately after this talk if I say I want to simplify TRIZ. No, not at all. I would like to customize TRIZ tools for some special applications. With the next slides, I would like to emphasize the main idea behind this research. TRIZ stands for theory of inventive problem solving. But who needs theory? People need practice. They need something which they may take and apply for the specific problems. Okay, especially nowadays when our society, evolves very fast. We have new problems, new types of problems, and I will show that with the next section. Let us talk about some statistics and trends concerning e-learning. This slide, look, it is not a very fresh statistic. Even if you look at the reference, it says 2021, but I'm sure I saw that before. Like 2 years ago, I had a project at Samsung, and a part of my research was about e-learning. How we use e-learning, what are the statistics, and so on. So just look at this number, look on the market size. It is expected to be 325 billion in 2025, in 4 years from now. It grew by 900% globally since its birth. That is fantastic. Another thing, micro-learning, small-size learning, in 2018 accounted for 60, even more, 61% of learning. So this micro-learning, when you use very small pieces of information, you pack them in the very convenient format, and you can learn it on the go, you can learn it in your vacation and so on. We will talk about that a little bit later. Nowadays, at least 60% of internet users have indulged in online learning. I honestly believe that participants of this conference belong to this category. They also use online learning. Another good numbers, 80% of companies and 50% of institutional students have used e-learning platform. Yeah, sure. And I can tell you, I belong to the company and we have a lot of courses online in our internal Samsung system. Well, talking about open sources, Udemy, the biggest, the most popular online platform, it has more than 20,000 experts with about 12 million students taking a course. Just think about these numbers. They're really incredible. And the reason I'm showing these numbers is because if we want to make TRIZ a mass product or customize some tools of TRIZ to be a mass product, we should keep those numbers in mind. It is a statistics which kind of helpful to us. Okay, now let us switch from statistics to trends. Not only educational technology, but hardware is also evolving. Virtual reality, it's around us nowadays. It's not a fantasy anymore. We use that. Mobile learning. Look, personally, I use my mobile phone more often than my laptop computer. I learn from my mobile phone, my smartphone, more often than from the laptop computer. Video-based learning. Yeah, I don't know if it is good or bad. I guess in the next session, TRIZ pedagogy, people who know about that will discuss that. So, who reads books now? Some people do, but most of people use video-based learning. There are a lot of video learning platforms and people use that. Pills of knowledge or micro-learning, as I promised, let us talk about that. So in the past, that was a normal thing when you spent in the class 45 minutes, then take a break for 10 minutes and spend other 45 minutes for the same subject. Nowadays, our work is getting more and more dynamic and people cannot spend that much time unless they are students in universities. That is why people who learn something new prefers this so-called pills of knowledge. And those pills of knowledge are short format videos from 3 to 15 minutes only, and they are very convenient to listen and watch from your smartphone. For example, you go to your office, you use public transportation, and it is very convenient to learn while you are in the bus or subway. Social learning. That is another interesting trend. People do not visit special courses, but they learn from social networks. They're sharing screen very quick. They have some podcasts. They have some mini conferences, meetups, and yeah, this is a trend. Gamification, another thing. Games help not only kids, but adults as well to learn something in a very efficient way. A blended learning. Even if you learn something online. From time to time, you need to meet with your trainer, with other people who learn the same thing, to kind of exchange. And this format started just before COVID-19. Then, of course, because of pandemic, blended learning kind of disappeared for a couple of years, for 2 years. And I believe it will come back as soon as we get rid of this pandemic. Obvious observation. Along with the digitalization of the world, which has been accelerated by COVID-19 pandemic, training has also become more digital. Okay, now let me explain the key points about pockets of knowledge and customization of TRIZ tools. So I was trying to summarize everything and deliver a clear message. First of all, POK TRIZ training has the following characteristic. It is organized in modules. So, and these modules, like pieces of mosaic, you can use them individually. You can build something out of these pieces of mosaic or puzzles. So those models contain videos, quizzes, and those videos are very convenient to watch because they are not long. They are maybe entertaining in a way to follow the trend of gamification. One important point, look, let me explain, let me give you just an example. There are different tasks in our working activities. For example, I need to reduce cost of the system. Yeah, of course, if I know TRIZ, at least at level 3, I can, start a project. I can apply all my knowledge, and I'm sure I will achieve good results. I will reduce the cost of my system dramatically. But now, if I do not have enough resources to learn TRIZ up to level 3, if I don't know what the contradictions are, what are the engineering contradictions, what are the physical contradictions, I have no ideas. And I do not have time to learn. Probably it is a good way to reduce cost of my system is to take just 2 puzzles, just 2 peels or pockets from the mosaic. I'm talking about function analysis and trimming, 2 perfect tools which can be applied sequentially, and you will reduce the cost of your system. Again, I am not comparing this approach with the professional project performed by TRIZ experts. Now, when I explain that, let us talk about target market, who may need such format. So our common conclusion, among the co-authors from different countries, was that startups demand such approach because they face many different problems, and they need a technique, the practice that can help them to solve it quickly. And the value proposition is to offer on-demand segmented modules to meet an immediate need and ensure development and innovation is done at pace. By saying that, let me switch to the case study. As I promised, it will be a little bit provocative because I'm going to use a function analysis to information system. It is not just illustrative or retrospective case study. That was a real project we performed with our colleagues for the company, which is called Docs in Box. And this company was originated in Russia. Now it is an international company. For example, they operate in Dubai. And they came up with the idea of startup. They said, look, in Dubai, there are a lot of thousands of restaurants, good restaurants, bad restaurants, doesn't matter. And there are a lot of suppliers of food and beverages for these restaurants. And they have communication problems. The traditional way when just a salesperson goes from one restaurant to another, offering the list of products, food products they can deliver. And the idea was to organize a marketplace, online marketplace, which will connect restaurants and food suppliers. And they asked us, do you know an approach which can help us to understand quickly what is the main purpose of the marketplace and what are the disadvantages we may see when we build this marketplace? So we decided to start with function analysis, of course, because function analysis will help us and our client to understand what components the system has, what are the components of its super system, and what is especially important, it will help us to understand what is the function of online marketplace. So now it sounds like easy. So what's the problem? Why can't you formulate the function of marketplace? Believe me, that was not an easy task. So, okay, this is the function model. And information is the target, is the component of the main function. So, because if you think about this, online marketplace, of course, this is the fragment of the model. The model was huge. We used Miro for that, and that was a monster there. So we need to generate information, and the main requirements is that this information should be actual. What I mean is shown here. So restaurants who are the main consumers of this information sometimes receive just excessive amount of information. So they have some details they do not need to know. They have some information which is already not actual. For example, they receive an offer to buy some product, tomato, cucumbers, whatever. Information exists, but the product does not. So that is why this is one big disadvantage. So restaurants need to receive the actual information. The prices, the amount, the quality of the product. That's it. They do not need any other information. Also, another huge disadvantage, suppliers, they damage information. Sometimes intentionally, sometimes not, but they provide wrong information. For example, they disinform restaurants about amount of items they have in their storage facilities. Or they may provide wrong information about the quality of the product. Even price of the product sometimes can be given by mistake. So when we did this exercise together with the team of Docs and Box, our client, they were shocked. They said, we never thought this way. That really helps us to understand why we need this marketplace, to generate actual information. Now, coming back to this approach of POK, pockets of knowledge. These people who asked us to perform this project, they didn't care about contradictions. They didn't care about substance field modeling, trends of engineering system evolution, or other tools like TRIZ or something else. What they needed is just to quickly understand what is going on in their system and what is the model of the system and how it should be improved. With this exercise, we spent maybe 8 hours. There were 4 sessions, 2 hours each. And after that, they said, yeah, done. Thank you. We understand everything. So if we create a pocket of function analysis, and we do not spend much time explaining that we have material object, which is either substance or field, and so on, we just say you should split your system into components. You should select components of the super system and then apply the same rules which we normally use at function analysis. Yeah, I'm ready to the criticism. The one argument I would like to say is that, look, in flow analysis, we often use information as a component, as a flow. Why don't we use the same in function analysis? Okay, not only function analysis, other tools can be also packed as a pocket. For example, function-oriented search. I love this tool. I use it 80% in 80% of my projects. So, and I clearly see that anybody can take 2 pockets of function-oriented search. It will take 15 minutes plus 15 plus 15, okay, 45 minutes, and you will learn function-oriented search. Inventive principles, well, it may require more, maybe 60 minutes plus some supporting materials, but it is definitely doable. Let me get to the conclusions very quickly. Okay, so what we propose, these pockets of knowledge, is a modern online video-based format for delivery of TRIZ tools to startups. That was initial idea. Then, okay, if we are talking about moving TRIZ from niche product to mass market product, or at least switching to another niches, then we started thinking about those potential users of this format. That could be individual or groups and small and medium enterprises, even big companies who wants to tackle a challenge without any formal knowledge of TRIZ. Exactly what happened with Docs and Box. They had no idea what TRIZ is. Well, they heard abbreviation because those guys are smart. They look in different areas to pick up some techniques, some methodologies, and they heard about TRIZ, but they have no idea what TRIZ is. Another possible area that could be individuals who want to discover TRIZ and possibly learn it, but probably they do not have enough time, or they learn everything which is included into TRIZ requirements up to level 3, but they still have some challenges, and those pockets of knowledge can help them to refresh or better understand specific topics. Those could be individuals who were trained in the past and they want to refresh their knowledge of TRIZ, so these pockets of knowledge also a perfect helper to them. We truly believe that this new format can help with proliferating TRIZ in the world and increasing number of its users, or at least increase awareness of TRIZ. I will repeat it for the last time and will be the end of my presentation today. So I am not talking, and my co-authors are not talking about simplification of TRIZ. We are talking about customization and finding a way to go to the mass market, or at least at other niches. All right, I would like to say thank you very much to my co-authors, and I am ready to your questions, if any.
Oh, all right, Oleg, thanks a lot. There are some questions. Most likely you can see them also in the chat window. First question from Hans-Gerd Grabe. You defined information is equal to structured data useful for a purpose. But what is data? Isn't data is equal to formalized information?
According to my understanding, which I learned when I found this slide from McKinsey, this diagram, data is unorganized. Anything, any bytes of information, they're around, and then we can take this data and organize them in a certain way, which we can use for the purpose, and that will be an information. So I took these definitions from a dictionary, and that is the way I understand that.
All right. Second question, also from Hans Gerd. In our observation, actuality of information depends heavily on the information providers, and not only of the information, but there is usually a gap between the needs or different needs of the users and the uniform formalized way of data structures provided by the platform. How did you settle that problem?
Wonderful question. Thank you so much. Let me refer to the slide with the function model. You remember that was a harmful function from the restaurant suppliers. They damage information. And as I said, they can do that intentionally or not, but it happens. And in my opinion, this function model can help us to understand that not only suppliers, but other participants of this marketplace can damage the information. And that is why it is not actual any longer. So this is the way to handle that. We just show what participants influence this block information and what they do for the information.
Okay, thank you. Next question from Oleg Abramov. I was wondering about efficacy of POK TRIZ. Can TRIZ knowledge obtained this way be quickly and efficiently implemented in practice? Any evidence of this?
Well, again, let me refer to this function model and the special company doxing box. It is not hypothetical example, which I or my colleagues put in the presentation for the illustration purpose. That was the real case. And those people are not TRIZ experts. They will not learn TRIZ further, but they were quite happy with this approach. 8 hours of their time allowed them to understand the system at the level that they can, design it further. I have another example, which is also included in the paper. It is about design simplification. I have a number of personal examples when I explain people function-oriented search, and they do not need anything else. They're happy with function-oriented search itself. So my opinion and opinion of my colleagues that, yeah, it can be sufficient for the certain group of people, not TRIZ experts.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any other questions? Well, maybe I add a little bit that last 18 months, I'm 100% involved into providing online training. And I have two types of courses, just courses, real courses where you study all 3 levels, but also there are small courses with a much lower price and so on. So I would say that the demand is actually for both. There are some people who want to learn TRIZ at a deeper level, but also some who want just to take some chunk, like creative imagination development. There are some tools which you can quickly teach within just 5-10 minutes, 15 minutes. And the demand is there for both. So I see in this 18 months, 100% engagement into online training. I would say that there are both.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the question, is that is there really a move to these pockets? Well, it's probably a question which is difficult to answer right now. It's just kind of my thinking that will these pocket small chunks of knowledge, education, replace the longer, deeper ones?
Never. The short answer is never.
Hopefully.
Yeah, never. I believe so. Again, there are different users. Mm-hmm. Like, in mathematics, you can be like a Perryman, like a smart guy as a Perryman, for example, or I don't know, Lobachevsky. Right. But every person learns mathematics at the level that he or she can use it in the supermarket. Right. So with these pockets, you can learn TRIZ at the level of the school. Like in my example with mathematics, it will be enough to handle some problems. But of course, again, you will never be as professional as a TRIZ master certified by Matrix.
That's right. But may I have some sort of an example of comparison? You can learn very basic skills of building construction and be able to build a bungalow, but you can go deeper and to learn how to build skyscrapers.
Mhm.
Maybe such an example. There is one more question from Harsha Gangan. Oleg, thanks for introducing this upcoming tool, a method for application of TRIZ to solve problems of more and more enterprises. I request my TRIZ team to conduct a detailed session on this topic for TRIZ students. Well, this is not a question, just a proposal.
Well, it's not a question. I just drop a quick comment. Well, it does not belong to Matriz yet. It is just a paper prepared by 4 people. And if you have an interest, we may meet after the conference and discuss.
Thanks. From Oliver Meyer, my experience is it will never replace the full TRIZ. The other was round. It make curious for a full TRIZ. So yeah, I agree.
It may be, we discussed that. And again, it depends on to whom you introduce this approach.
Very good. All right. Mr. Logvinov kindly gave us a little bit more time, so I used his proposal. So Sergey, thank you very much. It is definitely the future, and we at Matriz actually are promoted itself as best innovators. So we should be leading the way, right?
Yeah, okay. Valery, by the way, how can I switch to the normal mode from the,
panelist?
How can...
You want to leave panelist?
Yeah.
Well, I will do it. I will do it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So thank you, Oleg, once again. And now we're moving to our next talk. And next talk is by Sergey Logvinov.